Yep. You commit your life to those one or two races on that weekend. Like weeks, months, years of commitment and focus on the sport for that opportunity. Whenever I speak to young drivers or older drivers or anybody looking to be a race car driver, I try to say, don't ever speak of this sport as, oh, racing XYZ negative or racing XYZ positive. Recognize that this happens in racing, this happens in other sports, this happens in business, this happens with families at different levels. This is just being a human, going through life, and having a passion or your heart guiding you or your mind guiding you in a direction. So don't ever think that racing did you wrong or racing did you right. It has more to do with the people and the circumstances that went wrong and the people and the circumstances that went right. But don't think that it's just racing, right? It's the environment, the chosen activities racing, but these things happen everywhere as human beings. And when you start to look at it like that, then you start to study human nature. And I think you learn a lot more about being good at whatever it is you're choosing by looking at human nature and the mind and the heart and adrenaline and dopamine and depression and anxiety. You'll learn more about how to be good at what you're doing by managing that and getting good at that. And then obviously being good at the discipline for the activity that you're choosing. But you kind of have to have both parts, no matter if you're trying to be a CEO or entrepreneur or baseball player or football player. It's more universal than you think, in my opinion. And I try to look at it that way. And since I've kind of taken that position, I've enjoyed racing a lot more. But for guys like me, for guys like Zach, if we didn't put it all on the line, if we didn't forego things in life outside of racing so that we could focus on racing, I don't know how you make it. And I wasn't going to let dumb luck be why I made it. A gentleman that I race with now, some of the drivers that I work with task me, right? They say, look, I want you to help me accomplish this. I want to accomplish things this way, and this is what I want to accomplish. You know racing. You tell me, how do we get there, not by luck, but by design? Give me the footprint. Give me the map. Tell me how it's done. Let me know how much time I need to commit to this. Let me know any supplemental environments that I need to do this. Fitness, nutrition, sim, whatever. Like, build me a plan so that we can go achieve what I want to achieve by design, not by luck. And I respect it because that's how I gave up a lot of things in life to achieve what I really wanted in life. Was I had to forgo all of these other things so that I could put everything into racing, so that if I didn't make it, I knew I put everything into it. And if I did make it, then I did it by design and intention, which would make me feel okay to not have all these other life experiences, so that when I look back, it's like, yeah, I gave up a lot, but I did that willingly, and I achieved. Awesome. And also, if I didn't achieve, I needed to know that I could maintain my mental health by saying, I gave it all I got. Because if I didn't achieve, but I didn't give it all I got, I think that would be a tough place to be for me mentally. Yeah. And so I had to put a lot of things in order so that not only was I protected if I failed mentally and just as a human being, but also if I achieved, I did it by design, and I gave up all this stuff, and it would justify me foregoing things in life to put everything into trying to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And having done that, and the way that I did it, there's people that have achieved way more than me. But for me, where I came from and how it worked out, I feel very blessed to have achieved what I've achieved and have achieved my goals for the most part. It makes giving all that stuff up okay. And then obviously now I have a family and kids, and so I'm not going to go do something for fun for me personally. If I have downtime, I'm putting all my downtime into my family, right? Because that's what's ultimately important outside of career, or, you know, there are days where you have to order one ahead of the other. You just have to, especially in this sport. But everybody has to get that order. You know, sometimes family's priority, sometimes work's priority, and it's not so much level of importance as a whole. It's level of importance at that moment, or in that day, or in that week. And like, you know, when I speak to my wife, or speak to other race car drivers that struggle with the racing career away and family balance, I say, look, like, this isn't unique to motorsports. I always try to bring it down to, this isn't unique to being a race car driver. This isn't unique to you, right? First responders, military individuals, you know, armed men and women, like a doctor, an on-call doctor or surgeon, and many, many others. There are times where when that call comes, you have to respond. And if you don't respond, then you don't do what you do. You have to respond. So work-life balance comes down to, one can't have sustained priority or priority across the board every single day. It has to balance over time. But for sure, a career like this sometimes is number one, and family is number one. And so what I just try to be careful is that nothing else gets into that circle, right? Like, now and then I go fishing, or now and then I might go do one day of something, or fly into Sebring early in the morning instead of later in the afternoon, and maybe go fish on Okeechobee in the afternoon, and then go into the race weekend. Like, might do something like that, something nominal. But to go spend days away from home having a good time, no, I don't do that. What goes on leading up to an event, and in racing, the race, I think makes the race pale in comparison from the nail biting, the stress, the frustration, the holes that you fall into. I mean, sports psychology, competition anxiety that everybody goes through at different levels and manages in different ways. I think it's fascinating. Literally, you get more flavor, I think, understanding what the guy's experience is that's in the top 3 or top 5, what the guy or gal's experience is in like the top 10, what is it in like the top 20, and what are the people that are in the back, like just got into like maybe pro racing and got served kind of a rude awakening. Because all of those environments create different skills, different abilities to manage competition anxiety. I mean, some people puke before races. Some people puke in their helmet. Competition anxiety is outrageous for some people. I experience it. Everybody experiences it. If you don't experience it, you should probably do something else, right? Because that just shows that what you're doing doesn't mean that much to you. Everybody has different levels of competition anxiety. I study this as best I can. I read books. I watch videos from experts in that field. And you know what? Whether it deals with football or baseball or tennis or golf, it's all kind of the same environment, right? The activity you're doing is just what your passion or what you're driven to succeed in. the environment is the same as human beings. And I try to understand that as best I can to be a good coach and to manage myself. And sometimes it's stronger, sometimes it's not. And as you gain more experience, it's not that it goes away, you just learn how to manage it better. But man, the stories in that, and then the financial positions of all those different people on the grid, and the stories of how they got there. I mean, I've heard racing stories. I'm not going to go into names, but there are people that are icons in the sport, that are in the Hall of Fame, that I know their story verbatim from them, where they will agree. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm a multi-time champion in whatever discipline I'm in, and it was dumb luck. The only thing that I had a part in was I was willing to go broke trying to see how far I could get in the sport. But the fact that I landed XYZ sponsor was dumb luck. Like, and that's what they will say. Like, it was complete luck. Like, I did all these things that were strategic and motivated and things that I set up and sponsorship decks that I delivered. And then I was at this one race and basically just bumped into the person that injected all of the finances I needed to go off and be a champion, multi-time champion, and now be in the Hall of Fame. And there's other people that put all that work into those decks and all that and actually got that sponsor through Excel spreadsheets that I've seen of all the sponsors they've talked to and all the phone numbers and all the emails and the dates of contact and the KPIs that were listed that they were looking for, that they found ways to achieve and nailed that sponsorship. There's those people too. And then there's people who didn't have to do that at all, and it was just whatever I wanted to do. My family was in a position to back me, and that's what I did. And I respect all of it because it takes all of it to keep all the vendors in business, to keep all the employees employed and thriving, and to give these race car drivers opportunities to go off and win races and keep sanctioning bodies alive so that they have entry lists to continue going, and then they can go sell their sponsorships to sell to TV. Like, it takes everybody, so I do not disrespect anybody's path to get here, and I try to universally respect the fact that they're here means they have a passion for racing. I have a passion for racing, so there's our commonality. How you get here, whatever, just get here because I love racing. But man, it's really interesting.